one of the Splash Brothers is gone, and now he's a part of Dallas Mavericks. I'm talking about Klay Mother effing Thompson. They also got Najee Marshall that I think you guys were talking about earlier, and then Quentin Grimes. What are your thoughts on Klay Thompson going to the reigning Western Conference champions, Dallas Mavericks?
Shit just don't feel right to me. But
Especially
I
31.
mean,
That's nasty.
his expectations don't match, and I understand. Like I understand the business of it. Um, but I do just love the nostalgia of the league when player like I hated when Tony Parker went to the fucking Hornets. I was like, what the
Hornets,
fuck
yeah.
going on here?
That was
You
dumb. That
know?
was a whole
I,
nother,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, completely different. But I'm just saying, like when you a cornerstone player, like I just want to see you finish it out. That's all.
Or D-Wade going to
But
the Bulls.
At least that was
yeah,
his hometown, though.
Cleveland, fuck. I'm like, what the fuck are you doing here? I know Brian, your man's, but damn. Fucking Paul Pierce, you could tell he was just trying to get them checks. But I understand everybody can't be Kobe. Everybody can't be Steph.
Or
Hell,
Dirk.
Steph might leave too. Hell, he might be like, "Hey, y'all don't see y'all doing nothing."
Send me to La La Land.
But yeah, I mean, Clay is. I mean, ultimately, he because who was in the starting line was Derek. He's basically replacing Derek Jones.
Derrick Jones Jr., yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he put up 17 last year. I mean, if you just stretch the floor, and don't be horrible on defense. Obviously, his defensive grading is obviously continued to go down, but I think he's ultimately just going to be a better shooter than Derrick Jones. And I feel like defensively, Derrick Jones, he held his own in
Above
times.
average wing defender, Derrick Jones Jr.
So we'll see what Klay gives up in that aspect. But Klay can hit 3 or 4 threes in a row and change the second half of the game. So we'll see. But I don't foresee that like being a bigger move than like the Pelicans with DeJounte.
Yeah, nah, Klay. I think he's definitely I think he's just gonna mirror what he did last year with his stats. Probably shoot 40% from three and get you 16 to 18 points per night. Like he said in his press conference, you still can't double off of him. You replace that with Derrick Jones, they automatically look much better on the offensive end. I think PJ is definitely gonna take his game to a next level. He got traded mid-season, so I look for him to be the primary defender. I think they're gonna take a step back defensively, uh, but I think they're gonna be much better than they were last year as far as records to an extent because I really do like the acquisition with getting Daniel Gafford midseason. Like I said, PJ, and I think Derek Lively. I mean, even looking at him in the finals, he proved that he could, if he needs to, he can guard wing players as well. He was giving Tatum some problems as well. So I think they're going to be good next year. So we'll just see what they add to their game with Gafford more so trying to exploit his mismatches back to the basket. Lively, if he can stretch the floor a little bit, that would be great as well too. And like I said, I like those 3-and-D plays, especially Najee Marshall. I think he shot 40% from three last year. So I think
Lively.
one of the biggest reasons was I think he with Klay Thompson.
I was gonna say that too. You said Lively gonna stretch the floor. You said,
Lively ain't stretching the
No, I
floor.
say I hope he can. He has a nice form and
"Oh,
everything.
okay."
Yeah, I don't think he will. If they take a next leap, that'll be nice. Um, but I think I mean, Carl always made me lose my train of thought. I was saying some shit, man.
You were just talking
But
about their depth in Najee.
yeah, but I like their depth as well too. And I feel like with Klay Thompson, um, I think they gave him a good deal, the Warriors, but I feel like it was more so he wanted to be a full-time starter. He still thinks he has a lot to offer. And I think that's one of the reasons he wants to be a starter. But I feel like he gonna start for them this year. But I feel like eventually, from a defensive standpoint, if he's a super liability, they're gonna start who they replace for Derrick Jones. Outside of Klay, I think they're gonna start Najee Marshall. I was looking at his highlights. He's not bad, especially like with Luka and Kyrie commanding so much of the on-ball duties and the attention. They're gonna need another defender on that floor. So
Yeah, I mean, yeah, he accepted a worse deal in Dallas than signing trade
hey, I
anyway.
mean that tax though, it kind of basically works itself out. You're not losing too much money on taxes, so that's good. Um, anything you got to say, Carl?
Um, no, I mean, I like the Mavs moves. I think that Klay is going to be, I think Klay is going to be good for them. Uh, I don't know if I see them back in the finals, though. The West is just so stacked. So,
OD.
yeah.
But I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if they go back to the Western Conference Finals. Like I said, I don't. I think that I mean we can attest to it because I was arguing with you episodes ago, and I was like, I know with Denver, I mean it just wasn't necessarily the best matchup for him going up against Minnesota Timberwolves, but I still do believe that losing Bruce Brown and also losing Jeff Green was huge, and now you lose KCP to the Orlando Magic, so they may take. I mean, they still with Joker and Murray and Gordon and MPJ, they're still going to give you 50 games, but I feel like in the playoffs, that depth matters. So I think that's where they kind of take a step back as well, too. But looking at it now, I know the West is stacked, but right now, no one really puts fear in me. Like, it fear in me like in the sense of like, I wouldn't be surprised if the Mavs get back to the Western Conference Finals because I honestly, even though it's pretty balanced, the three teams that I'm looking out for is Dallas, OKC, and Minnesota. That's pretty much it, I think.
I think people are sleeping on the Grizzlies.
You think so?
Yeah, I definitely do. I think that even this year, with this team that finished with one of the worst records in the league, in the 9 games that Ja played, they were a good team. And I think
He
that
is that type of player. Yeah.
yeah, I think they've gotten better. I think they've gotten a little bit better in the offseason. And the last time we saw them, they were a 50-win, top 3 seed. So uh, they might not get exactly back to that, but I just think that nobody's really talking about them. Nobody really has any expectations for them. And I think that if anything, Ja's either going to come back at that level or he's going to be at a higher level because he's going to be trying to, I feel like he has the same thing in him that Anthony Edwards has, but he's done a bunch of stuff and he was out for the year, so he doesn't really get talked about anymore. But like, I think Ja, we talk about that dog, Ja has that, and I think that everybody doubting him and not talking about them, I think that they're going to try and they still have Jaren Jackson, Desmond Bain, like Bain missed a bunch of time. I feel like Jaren Jackson had to be there. Honestly, similar to what we talk about on, he had to be a high scorer because they were a bad team. If he gets back to being a low scorer, he can get back to playing the defensive player of the
Playing
year
the
type
forward too.
defense. Exactly. So, yeah.
Okay.